What is going on, team? Welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. For those of you guys that do not know me, welcome to season number 4 of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. My name is Jay Nixon. I am your host. I am the founder and creator of the Thrive Forever Fit Transformation Program. I've written 2 best-selling books. I own a physical fitness studio in Palm Desert, California, and this is my podcast. What we do on this show is we disrupt your current way of thinking, we inspire you to think differently, and we help you transform into the person that you deserve and desire to be by giving you the tools and the knowledge and the resources that you need. Now, on today's show, you are going to hear from one of my very, very special clients. Her name is Ashley. Today is her 30-day update. We started a 6-week challenge with her. Not really a challenge, more of a 6-week lifestyle transformation project that we're broadcasting publicly. She's going to lose 60 pounds in 6 months. And I'm here to tell you guys, she's going to lose more than that. It's going to be mind-blowing. We are 30 days in and she's 15 pounds down. I'm not going to ruin everything for you. I want you to hear Ashley's story from Ashley. So thanks for joining today. Enjoy the show. I'm going to give you a little bit of information at the end. If you'd like to get more intel and info on how you can be part of our amazing group, we've got a few different options for you there. So listen up at the end of the show. All right, guys, enjoy the show. Hey, buddy, what's happening?
Hey,
how you doing?
So good.
What do you mean so good? You're doing better than so good. 15 pounds in 30 days.
Fantastic.
Let's pause on that really quick because you and I have had a bunch of conversations, like for the last, 6 months?
Yeah.
We've had a bunch of chats.
We have.
We've talked about a lot of stuff. And so as you guys know, if you're listening to this episode, this is 30 days into Ashley's 6-month sabbatical into losing 60 pounds. We're 15 pounds down, guys. 15 plus, like 15 point something. I don't like math, and so we're going to keep it super simple for the purposes of me not screwing it up. But this is unreal. And you haven't lost 15 pounds in a month in I don't know when.
I don't either.
Right. And all you've really done is you've gotten uber focused. I mean, let's pause again. We just had Christmas.
Yeah.
Like you should have gained weight. Like you should have been feasting. Like you should have like chocolate on your mouth right now. And I should be like, what's that on your face? That's chocolate.
No chocolate past these lips.
Not to mention the craziness of it. We're going to get into all this, but I just wanted to make that announcement right off the bat. I know you guys heard that in the intro. We're 30 days in. She's 15 pounds down. And she just said to me, I hope it keeps going like this. And I said, you're a psychopath, right? And so let's talk about that. Do you really believe, because this is a good thing to chat about. Do you believe that it's really possible for you to stay at this pace until you lose 60 pounds or more?
Not particularly possible, but I still think that I'm going to do really well. Because you told me last week when I was complaining about my period and not losing anything, that I probably wouldn't, and I lost 2.9 pounds. So
that's great.
I'm hoping, I mean, maybe not 15, but like 12 a month. I don't know.
And I didn't tell you weren't going to lose any weight because of your period. You sent me a message pissed off at your period that you hadn't lost any weight. So let's be honest here. Don't blame this shit on me. You sent me a
did, though. You
said, oh, I'm not losing any weight, my stupid period. And I'm like, relax, bro. I mean, Mother Nature, she does her jam. And a lot of times when that happens, you don't lose weight. So the fact that you did is it's a great achievement. You should be super pumped about that, but it won't happen every freaking month.
Sure. Okay. It won't happen every month. But
okay. All right.
Something near that would be lovely.
Let's backtrack, because when we started this, the day I called you and I'm like, hey, this is what we're going to do. You started quickly doing the math. You're like, okay, I got to lose this amount of weight every month, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you went straight to like algebra teacher on me.
Right.
And you're like, and I'm like, that's not going to happen like that, bro. It won't happen. Did you at any point think that we would be 30 days in and you'd be 15 pounds down?
Not 15, no.
Right. I didn't either. I honestly didn't either. Only because a lot of times people will have like these big, weight loss things, but it's like you've always worked out. You've
Yeah.
always been, I would say, semi-conscious of your intake.
Right.
So what's going on? Like what's been the little switches that have flipped that have got us to 15 pounds down?
I think the first one that comes to mind is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I got in a really interesting pattern of like killing it during the week, super mindful with food. Like you said, my activities on point anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
on the weekends, I would get in my mind that I deserved like a treat, or, things would be stressful with kids. So I'd reach for a drink. And I knew that I was like affecting my progress, but I didn't know I was erasing my progress. And so I was just kind of treading water at the same, weight that I'd been at forever. So consistency has been a huge deal.
That's so
Huge.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we've had this chat before too. You've always been like during the week, like dialed in, and
Yeah.
then when the weekend comes, it's almost like the weekend and then Monday, Tuesday were a wash, even though you were doing what you were supposed to be doing. So we really got the benefits of like Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we're back on the train. So it was that vicious roller coaster ride of like the whole living for the weekend thing. Why have you been able to do that? I mean, listen, we just, like I said, I want to say it again, we just finished Christmas, which is for a lot of people, a dumpster fire of nutrition. How were you able to keep it together?
Well, the commitment to the process is huge. Like, I didn't even make it an option to not keep it on point, because I've made this declaration. I feel like I'm accountable, obviously, to myself, but accountable to all these people. And so it wasn't even on the table. And that made everything so much easier, because I was telling you, like, we had a couple traditions around Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and I always gained 10 or 15 pounds based on those traditions. And this time, it's not that they went away, it's just I didn't partake, and it was just different. But I mean, first and foremost, it's not an option. Like, it's not on the table. Like, I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, period.
You're going to keep the promises that you made to yourself.
Yep.
Right. And I think so. That's such a great point to elaborate on. We make a ton of promises to ourselves and then we allow ourselves off the hook because, like you said, what you used to do is you would convince yourself that on the weekends, oh, this has been super stressful. Like, I mean, we're not going to get into the details, but Ashley's been under an exorbitant,
Exorbitant.
whatever. Like, don't, I mean,
Lots,
listen,
lots.
a whole lot of stress over the course of the last, I mean, for a while, but for sure the last 30 days have been
Yes.
really exacerbated. So your stress levels are high, super busy, work, kids at home, Christmas, chaos, the whole 9 yards, and you are still holding it together. Like people are going to be like, how? Like, how are you holding this together?
Well, it wasn't perfect. Like, the first like 2 weekends, I wanted to default back to my normal things that I did. Like, I would catch myself being like, oh, well, we can have this drink, or we can make this while we watch football. So the first 2 weekends were natural. Like, these last 2 weekends have been fine. But even like early on, we had like a stressful time in the house with kids, and I reached to finish a grilled cheese and I opened the trash can and spit it right out. But like, I didn't think about that. It just happened.
Right.
And I had that happen with alcohol multiple times. Or like, I'll see the cup that I like to drink out of even now, and I'm like, well, there it is. But so it's been breaking those old patterns, but the more that I break them, it's like I'm building new brain wiring, because that's not what's coming up. Like, yesterday was also stressful. There's a pattern here, but I was like, I'm just gonna get on my, and it was a snow day, so we didn't have any responsibilities. I'm like, I'm just gonna get on my Peloton and ride. And I rode till I was like dizzy. I was like, I need to get off and eat something. But I'm just replacing my old urges with like new things.
And people ask me that all the time. Like, Jay, how do I do this? How do I stop doing that? And it's simple, but it's not easy, right? Like you can say, listen, okay, there's my cup. I'm not going to put what I usually put in that cup. So I better do something else. Like, I better like replace that activity. I think let's talk about the monster cookie. So Ashley and I are having a conversation and she had posted a picture of like all this like cookie making stuff. And it was like, I didn't know if she was making like 1,000,000 cookies or what. And so we're on the phone. She holds up a picture, or not a picture, but was it 5 pound bag?
I think so.
Yeah, it was like a 5 pound bag of like brown sugar. And first of all, I'm like, I didn't know they made 5 pound bags of brown sugar. And then she explains to me this tradition of making this monster cookie. And I mean, how many did you end up making? Like hundreds?
Oh, yes, dozens and dozens and dozens and
Yeah.
dozens.
And
Yeah.
that's a yearly tradition in your house.
Oh, totally. And it was like my first year that I totally took it over. So like I gave my brother dough, I gave my parents dough. So like it was in our house for like over a week. Yeah.
Okay. And
Huge
normally,
tradition.
you would partake in those cookies. You would eat them.
Oh, well, and I was telling you when we were on the Zoom that like we'd eat it like frozen at night at 10 o'clock. We'd eat
Yeah.
it with like a Colorado Bulldog. We'd eat it in the morning. Like it's literally just part of my holiday season.
Right. And explain, I mean, I can't, I'm going to try to remember and you tell me where I'm wrong. It was 5 pounds of brown sugar. This was like a serving, like to make 5 pounds of brown sugar. I think you said 2 pounds of butter.
Yeah.
And there was like multiple poundages of peanut butter.
3 pounds, but we can't say all of it. It's a secret.
Okay, so 3 pounds of peanut butter, and then let me just tell you this: everything had pounds behind it. It wasn't.
Yeah.
She didn't say, "Oh, Jay, I put 2 teaspoons of this
Uh-huh.
or a half a cup of this." Everything was like I felt like I was lifting weights. Like I felt like we were loading up the squat rack, and I was about to get a PR.
Yeah.
I was like, "Holy shit!" And when you held up that
It was
bag of
crazy.
brown sugar, I was like, first I blacked out. I got like a sugar buzz just from seeing it. So the point I want to make in that is tradition, super nostalgic, something you've always done. Your brain goes to, oh my, this smells like it always has. I know
Yeah.
what it tastes like. Blah 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 blah. How on earth were you able to not eat that? I know what you're going to say. You're going to say I just made the decision not to do it.
Well,
It wasn't on the table. But listen, everybody says that shit. Everybody's like, I'm not
mhm.
going to do that. And then when nobody's looking, they reach over and they're like, they shove one in their mouth really quick. And they're like, what are you eating? They're like, mm-mm.
Okay, it was two-part. Well, you and I had a coaching call like the day before,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of were like, if you have one or two, don't like go all off track because I'm super black and white. And I stopped
Mm-hmm.
you and I'm like, I'm not having any. So that was like a little fuel to my fire that was
Yeah.
already, the fire was already built. But
Right.
then you did that. And I'm like, this joker thinks I'm going to have a freaking cookie. Hell no. And
Good.
then also, I am a baby, like, loser right now. Like I'm not strong enough yet in my
Yeah.
healing from black and white thinking to trust myself to have just one cookie. So like for me, I wasn't ready. So yes, it wasn't an option, but also I had like this acute awareness that I wasn't ready to go down that path of doing that. And also like I am choosing not to have sweets and booze for myself. You did not tell me not to do that.
Yeah.
I chose that for myself. And what I'm really trying to do in this process, and this is something you've helped me with for like 8 months, is like knowing I'm worth keeping the promises. Like
Totally.
I'm not going to trash on myself just because I slip off and I just couldn't handle it. So it was a multi-piece
Yeah.
thing, but those were all the main pieces.
I love that. And the reason that I told you it was okay if you had a couple, and I knew you wouldn't do it, but I know you're so black and white on things, and you're such a F you, I'm going to prove you wrong person,
Yes.
that I knew when I said that, and you said, no, I'm not. I'm like, well, then we're good. Like I honestly didn't even have a concern that you were going to eat them after you said that, because I knew that you did not want to have to get on the phone with me and say, hey man, you were right.
Yeah. No,
And I
I
love that.
don't ever want to have to do that with you.
I love being wrong. Like I love the fact that you were strong enough to be able to do that. What has been the most, I mean, obviously there's been a massive amount of challenges, but like if you just think like on a really granular level, has there been one or two things that have like I'm going to pause really quick because you said something a while ago that I thought was awesome. You said I put a grilled cheese in my mouth mindlessly, and then it hit me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" and I spit it out. I
Mhm.
want people to hear that because that's what a bunch of us are doing so consistently that before you would have just eaten that grilled cheese and it wouldn't even have registered on your radar.
No.
And then when you were thinking about, oh, what did I have to eat today? That half a grilled cheese would not have even registered or popped up because it was mindless, and you probably would have legitimately forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So now you're not doing that. Like you're intentionally and mindfully like making decisions. Has that been challenging, or what's been the role for that?
It gets easier every single day. Every single day. Like I had a couple friends over last night to watch Texas Longhorns kill it. And they were like, what can we bring? What can we bring? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be making asparagus and salmon if anyone wants it. And to me, like, that wasn't weird. That was just natural. That's what I was going to have. But you asked what did you ask? Something that's been hard. Okay. So one thing I noticed, and I think I had some mindfulness before this project, that I lean on food during times of stress.
Mhm.
It doesn't talk back. It makes me feel good momentarily. And I think just being all in on this, I realized that was way bigger of an issue than I thought, because of course you think of food like around celebration and, different events, but like truly just you and your house and your four walls, like that's how I cope with stress. I thought I coped with exercise. I thought I killed it. But it's the food piece. So that has been difficult. And so when we've had these like kind of family crisis type things on and off this last month, I would have to remind myself, this is not something I'm turning to right now. Just do the next right thing. Another thing you taught me. So just do
Yeah.
the next right thing, and we had a hospital stent in there, and I had brought, a protein bar that's like an emergency, don't use it unless you need to. And I had that there. I had my BCAAs with me. So it's like I didn't realize how big of an issue that was in my life
Yeah.
before this 30 days.
That's awesome though, right? Like it's a great
Yeah.
new awareness because now when something's a trigger or something is like a default setting, it's so much easier to like, because you in your mind you would convince yourself, well, because you work out extremely hard. Like I could say, hey, let's go right now and like do burpees, and you get in the background and do burpees. Like you just don't care, but you do
Yeah.
it. I said, hey, you have to do it. You'd be like, I mean, you'd hate it,
Yeah.
but you'd freaking go do it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so you're not one that is ever going to shy away from a workout or a challenge like that. And so I think it's a great new awareness for you that like that's just you love that, but that's not really how you cope. I mean, it's a coping mechanism because it definitely does lower your anxiety and those types of things. But the food is kind of that little animal that's always like rearing his head up and looking around to see how he can get to you. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's super, super cool. What has been, let's talk about a positive now. Like what's been the coolest part of the kind of your new awarenesses and the new, kind of path and journey that you're on?
I just don't feel like food has any power over me anymore,
Mm,
which is something we again have talked about for 8 months. I think you
yeah.
challenged me one time for a week to like let it have no power, and I was like sweating and white knuckling the whole time. It was so awkward and terrible. But I've learned that because like I can't think of the last time I lost 15 pounds, but I can promise you the last time I did, it was with a very restrictive diet. Like I know it. And so you're always like very hyper aware. And whereas this time, it doesn't really have any power over me. Like I
Yeah.
know my goals, I know what feels good. And I have people messaging me like, are you low carb? Are you this or that? And it's like, you need to do your own thing. For me, like this is what feels comfortable for me. And this is how my body feels the best. And like just being in that mindset, not having food have power over me, like I can't remember the last time, not in my adulthood ever, has that
Yeah.
been the case. So that's something that's been really, really exciting.
Can we talk about like some challenging conversations that you've had to have like with people like, you know,
Um,
negative feedback or
yeah, I've had, with naming no names, I've had are you talking about what I just messaged you now?
yeah. I just want to
Okay.
make sure you're comfortable chatting about it.
Yeah, as long as we're
Okay.
not naming names.
We're not
I
naming
had
names.
someone talk to me about the rate at which I'm losing and like, is that safe? And I felt like I was really balanced in how I was talking back with this person, but they were just pretty convinced that it was, I'm in this contest and I'm just losing too quick and it's not going to be sustainable. Whereas I know, like, because I've done the mental work and I'm still doing it, that this is
Mhm.
absolutely now where I'm going and where I'm going to be. And I shut her down. Ooh, it's a her. Huh? I shut her down finally by being
There's a bunch of
telling.
hers out there. I think we're safe.
But I told her I was working with a doctor and a coach, which I am.
Yeah.
I'm fixing my hormones hand in hand with the doctor right now, and you're coaching me through this. So it shut it down pretty quick. But what did you say to me? It's something about do you remember what you said to me?
I
Something along
say
the lines
I
of,
say a
you
lot of
say,
stuff to you.
that is
Yeah.
so true. Along the lines of like, your success like makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I'm glad I wanted to bring that up a little bit too, and just because for everybody listening out there, like this is a normal occurrence. So I want to touch on two things. 15 pounds in 1 month is very abnormal. That is not a normal, average, everyday weight loss. Not everybody will have that. We have been working together for 8 months. Like this wasn't a like we just started a crash diet and like I've got you like on an IV drip of like weight loss drugs and stuff. Like You're eating anything and everything that you want to
Yeah.
eat. And the fact that she used the word challenge is so incorrect. This is not a challenge. This is a solution to a problem that you've been experiencing that you want to rectify. But this is how you're going to live the rest of your life. Like, you're never going to gain this weight back. When people do challenges, they gain the weight back.
Yeah.
And so what happens is when people confront you like that, we'll say she, he's, whatever they are, it's never really about you. It's a two-pronged thing. First of all, your success. I wish we weren't like this, but humans are really weird. A lot of us see other people's success as our failure. And so a lot of times, if we're both overweight and you start to lose weight and I'm not able to, it's hard for me to lift you up and put you on give you the trophy and celebrate your win, because all I can think about is how I'm not able to do what you're able to do. And so a lot of times that's where that negativity comes from. Like, I'm really concerned about you. So the question I always ask is, was this person ever concerned with the amount of weight that you gained? Like, did they ever come to you at any point and say, hey, Ashley, I feel like you're gaining weight too quickly. Hey, Ashley, I've watched your food decisions. I don't feel like they're the healthiest for you, and I'm really concerned about your health. The answer is 99.99% always no. Nobody has a person ever been worried about, came to you and said you're gaining too much weight?
Never.
Never. So if that person has never done that, they lose the ability and the credibility to now be involved in the weight loss.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to hear that. That's not just for Ashley, that's for all of you. They lose that credibility, because if they were really concerned about you, they would have said, listen, you've had one too many chicken nuggets. You've had one too many donuts. You've had one too many blank. No one ever says that to us. But the first time somebody starts losing weight, everybody in their family becomes a scientist and a doctor and is like, this is unhealthy. I bet if she followed you around for 30 days, she'd be like, this sucks. Like, you're just eating healthy and making really good decisions. Like, where are the drugs? Like, aren't you supposed to just eat cardboard and like drink water all day and cucumbers? Like, she'd be shocked.
Yeah.
So that's for everybody. Don't let those people get into your mind. And that's why I'm so aggressive about that, is because we're fragile. Humans, I wish we weren't, but we're fragile, especially when you're in a weight loss journey. Your fragility to the opinions of others, whether you want to admit it or not, is always high, because you're questioning yourself right now a little bit, maybe not a lot, but a little part of you is like, can I really freaking do this? Is this really you've had this conversation?
Yeah.
Like, there's a certain number that you don't like, and that you had convinced yourself that this number had a control over you. And I kept telling you, like, it's just a number. Who gives a shit? So I just want to bring that up. But go ahead. What do you think about all that?
Well, first off, I was just going to do a little asterisk and say I've had overwhelming support from almost everyone.
Totally.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And then I thought of another thing, if we can back up to the challenges. I want to keep it super real. I had gotten caught at this certain weight because I'd lost a pregnancy a couple years ago, and I was up at that weight at the point when I lost the pregnancy, and I like semi-connected those, but not really. And I feel like getting through that 10-pound chunk, like I was like, dang, I had a lot to like shed off there. So like I was like journaling my brains out, and it had really held me up, and it was an epiphany for me how much that the emotions are connected with the actual weight. Yeah. And I've like moved through that by like 0.2 pounds, but it was just like looking at the scale, I was like, that is behind me, you know? And I think of all my friends that have gone through such heavy things like that too, whether it be pregnancy loss or other big life things. And I think that stress is hung on their bodies too. You know, it's a process of letting that go, where it's not just the calories, it's the emotional piece. So that was really hard and really surprising and really beautiful, like all together.
Yeah, it's not, I think what I hear you saying is, and this is so true, is it's not the physical weight. Oftentimes it's the hardest to lose. It's the association and the attachment of that mental weight that is kind of there in the background that we don't give a lot of credit to. Like you said, it's like you didn't realize how connected those things were. But like, everything's connected, guys. The brain, the belly, the everything. And we, emotional, psychological, physical, like, it all matters. This is why you just can't. I mean, listen, if you could out exercise a poor diet, you'd be, I mean, you'd be crushing it because you are willing to out exercise anybody. Like you don't care. Like you just go, you just do the work. That's proven that it's not. You've had to go the other way and work on the stuff that you don't really love, which is the emotional, which is the vulnerability, which is all the things that you and I talk about. And you were like, I want to punch you in the face. And I'm like, that's not very nice. And this is a computer screen, so don't ruin your own computer. But those are the things that, this is why you're where you are today, is 15 pounds down. If we hadn't have done all that pre-work before, I'm not sure we'd be having the kind of success we're having in 30 days. So you've done, I want people to understand that you are putting in the work, and it's not even the work that anybody gets to see. It's not in the kitchen and it's not in the gym. It's that you on you time, whenever you get that journal out and you're processing and doing the heavy lifting, the real heavy lifting, that you've made the biggest strides with. And you handle stress really, really well on the outside. I mean, you're like a duck, right? Nobody would ever know. If you ever watch a duck, right? They're on top of the water, they look so calm, right? They're just like, oh my God, he's so peaceful. And underneath, those little flippers are going as fast as they can. So sometimes your brain are like those little flippers, right? On the outside, people are like, how in the world is she handling this? I don't care who you are. Internally, there's a lot going on, and you're doing an amazing job of processing and handling that. So I just want to give you that shout out, that I'm proud of you for doing that, doing the heavy lifting.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
And Ashley does not take compliments very well, as you've just noticed. That was the worst thank you that I've ever gotten. But I know her well enough to know that she really means it. Like that was super deep. Like she almost, inside she's crying right now.
Bawling.
She does not take compliments very well, which drives me insane about her, because she's so talented, she's so successful, and deserves a million compliments, but you suck at it. You are awful at taking a compliment.
I'll work on that. I'll put that in the list of things I'm working on.
What do you mean the list? We've been working on it forever.
That is true. Yeah. Our last coaching call was the most brutal call we had.
Yeah. So the next time I say I'm proud of you, I'd like a little bit more of an enthusiastic thank you.
Do we want to redo it?
No.
Okay. Next time. All right.
Next time. I want you to work on this. This is important. Okay. What are you most excited about? So we're 30 days in. We're not even close to the end of this journey. And I think you said to me like a while back, you made a statement about like when I finish. And I was like,
yeah.
What do you mean when you finish? Like I just said 60 in 6 weeks because it sounded cool. Like I don't really give a shit about the 6 weeks. Like, I mean, the 6 months, like we're not done ever. Like you're going to keep going and growing and doing all these amazing things. What are you most excited about? Like the next step? Like what's the next step that is there anything you're looking forward to?
Definitely. So you and I had a little bit of a closed conversation and sizing and all that stuff. And like, I had gotten to a certain point in my wardrobe where I was like, I'm not buying anything bigger. This is ridiculous. And so I was just stuffing myself into clothes, and I'm starting to get to the point where they're comfortable, but I'm really excited for them to fit and then be loose and go out of my life, because I've got lots of other great clothes I can't fit into. So that sounds a little superficial, but it's really measurable for me, to be able to be more comfortable in my skin. So that's super exciting. And every time it's usually a Peloton ride, not when I'm lifting, but every time I'm on a ride, I think of, man, what is this ride going to be like, at this weight, at this weight, at this weight? Cause I like to be a beast, but I mean, I'm held back. I just am, so I started to dream about that and getting excited about that too.
I love that. And I don't think there's a problem with a vanity type goal. I mean, I think we deserve to feel great in the clothes that we wear. We deserve to like what we see in the mirror. Like we deserve all those things. So don't discredit the fact that those are things that are important, because I think, like you said, they're measurables that are going to be even more important than the weight at some point. Like at some point, like, I mean, I know weight's an important metric because it's like, we want it to come down and we want it to do all of these things. But imagine if scales had never been invented. Right? Like there's never been a scale. And like, you just had to kind of like, well, I mean, this is kind of what I'm dealing with, right? Like if you start to focus on the feeling more than the number, I think, and this is for everybody, if you guys will focus on the feeling more than the number, because that number can really have an aggressive hold on you. You know what I'm talking about. That number, that number can be like a monster. And before you even step on the scale, you've got this fear based of like, is he going to show up today? Is like the monster going to show up, or is he going to be nice to me today? We give it so much power. If we shifted all that energy we gave to that and we said, listen, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I'm making really positive, powerful decisions. I'm being uber mindful and intentional. I am proud of myself for the way I've behaved and the way I've acted and the way I've thought. I'm going to focus on the feeling that I have right now. I mean, holy crap, like that would give you so much more juice to go to the next level. So I love these non-number like goals and things that you're really, really excited about.
Yeah. I have a complicated relationship with the scale. So
Mm-hmm.
I will like message you and I'll be like, I saw this drop on the scale, even though I know this scale is only one metric, because I'm ready for you to bite back. But I want to work on that, because I think when I get to where I want to be, I want to have like some honesty pants or something where that's my metric, not the scale.
Yeah.
So that is also in the column of things I'm going to work on.
Well, and I think, and I want you to know, you're going to get to a place, and I know that this sounds hard for people to believe that are like really scale heavy, meaning like they weigh themselves consistently in all ways, everything. I honestly have not weighed myself in years. I don't even know where I'd find a scale or what it would say if I got on it. I have no clue. And you guys can get to that same place where it's like, I don't care. Like the number doesn't matter. Like I can visually look at myself in the mirror and be like, okay, I need to tighten it up a little bit. And that can happen on a daily basis, right? And so you guys are all going to get to that place in space where you're no longer dependent upon a machine to tell you that you've done a good job. And you don't need that now. I think it's kind of like a crutch.
It is.
Yeah, but that's totally okay. Let's keep using that crutch until we don't need it anymore, and then we'll throw it away and never ever buy another one. So any parting words for our 30-day check-in other than hoorah?
I want to encourage like my friends and people I've talked to about all this stuff to quit overthinking things, since that was like a huge part of my life before this. And I think I'm finally seeing that more clearly, that I was just an overthinker. Like, quit overthinking things, do the next right thing, and just be consistent. I think you'll be really surprised. It doesn't have to be this huge program or anything like that. So
I mean, let's be honest. Like if we told people the simplicity of really what it is that you're doing, like it's not even it's not that complex, guys. There's no like cards that have numbers on them, and she only gets so many numbers a day, and there's no algorithms. There's no craziness. And I think a lot of times what you just said is perfect. We get in our own way so often and so quickly by making things more challenging than they have to be. And I think the human brain, especially when it comes around weight loss, we've convinced ourselves that if it's not challenging or difficult or almost impossible, that there's no possible way it can work. Because if it's simple, and I mean, I don't want to use the word easy, but if it's simple and the process is easy, and then we don't do it, then we feel bad about ourselves. But if it's like a complex algorithm of like, you've got to like, it's flow charts and you have an abacus and you got to like all that stuff. And then who's going to do that? And you can be like, this was just, forget it. It was just so hard. I couldn't do it. Everybody else will be like, oh, me too. I tried that. But if you really simplify the process, like it's really about this thing that sits on the top of your shoulders. And if you get clarity around what you're doing from the neck up, and that gets super mindful, super intentional, and like you said, the next best decision. And then listen, Ashley is a beautiful example of what success is. And success leaves clues. Just model what she's doing. Just mimic the behaviors. The conversation that we just had, rewind it, listen to what she said she did in those tough situations, and listen to the simplicity of what she did. Like she just changed a bad behavior with a better behavior. That's it. Like you didn't have to buy anything. You didn't have to go anywhere. You didn't have to, there's no website to log into. It was just better decision making, mindful and intentionally.
That's it.
All right. So we got 30 days and then we're going to be right back here doing this again. I am excited to see what comes up.
Super excited.
I was going to ask you to make a prediction, but I'm not going to do it because you love football so much. Do you want to? Like
as far as my loss for the next month?
Yeah.
I'm focused on double digits.
What? You mean like another? Oh, so like so 10 pounds minimum.
Yeah. Okay. So like an average of over 2 a week, which seems aggressive, but it doesn't seem too aggressive.
Okay. Over 2. So I'm writing this down. over
Okay.
2 pounds. So we're basically going to say 10 pounds. 10 pounds and
Yeah.
you'd be okay. So 10 pounds and you win. All right.
Oh, are we competing? What is your guess?
It's none of your business. I'm running the show. I don't have to tell you
No, I
anything.
want to know.
I don't have to tell you anything. This is the flow chart over here. I'm like Vegas.
I thought you were
You
competing. You know me. My juices
Well,
started
I
going.
may be. I'm like Vegas. I don't know the odds yet. I'll put the odds out. We'll go over under. We'll see what it's like. We'll see what happens. Maybe you get a prize or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I know. All right, buddy. I am super proud of you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Before we leave, I'm gonna leave with this. I'm most proud of you for this, and it's not even the weight loss. I am most proud of how you have done your very, very best to not be so black and white in your thought processes, because that's been a real struggle for us. That's been a thing that you consistently go back to. And over the course of the last 30 days, I think you've done an extremely good job at trying not to go back to that place, because you know what happens when you do, and you're making really good decisions and you're not allowing yourself to do that. That's what I'm most proud about. And that's what I give the success to this 15 pounds for. So keep doing that. Let's keep trucking. And I'm proud of you. I know everybody listening is proud of you. Guys, send Ashley messages. Let's support her. Let's lift her up. I mean, this is a team effort. Like, we're going to get there together and we're going to celebrate together. So, buddy, I'm proud of you, and I will see you in a month.
Thanks.
All right. Bye, guys. Wow, right? Pretty amazing stuff. Over 15 pounds in 30 days and absolutely crushing the game right now. And as you heard from Ashley's mouth, she's just being really mindful, really intentional, and making the next best decision that she can make. There's nothing mind blowing. She's not tracking macros and micros and mini co's and all of the things that everybody loves to track. She's just really making this a really simple process. 15 pounds down, guys, in 30 days is unreal and unbelievable. Stay tuned for more of Ashley's journey. And to get updates on her journey, all you have to do is be part of the Wellness Lab Launchpad. It's a free Facebook group. Jump over there. We'll let you in. You can get daily and weekly updates. You can see some workout videos from Ashley, some foods that she's eating, some video diaries that she puts on the page. It's a really cool way to support her and to also get yourself in the right frame of mind to help you on your journey. So I appreciate you listening to the Thrive Forever Fit Show. I love you. We'll be back next week with another amazing episode. See you soon. Bye.